Hi everyone, welcome to Friday Reads. My name's Linda and this is Lilybugs Library. It's been a while, so it's nice to see everybody and talk to you for a little bit. I've been got quite a few books actually read or listened to, both. So it's a bit of a long list tonight, so grab a coffee or a nice cup of tea and we'll get started. Oh, Dudley's going to join me, I think. Come on up, Dudley. All right. Here, should we move this down a little bit so people can see you? Oh, goodness. Okay, so the first book I read was called Partners in Lime, and it was the sixth book in the Seaside Cafe Mysteries. And I just love these books. They are so good, and they're done by Bree Baker, and I've enjoyed every one of them. So in this one, Everly's friend, sort of weird noise, Everly's friend Matt, who is a paramedic, ends up getting accused of a murder. And so she's trying to help him, but at the same time, her boyfriend, the police detective, is not that crazy about her helping out the handsome paramedic. So it involves a little bit of problems there. I mean, there's nothing to it, but he gets a little jealous. But the whole book is just so well done, and the ending on this one, it made me immediately want to jump into the next one. Let me just put it that way. So I really enjoyed it. The only thing that I don't remember, and I guess that does say something, is the fact that I really don't remember who did it. I can remember the characters, and there's a seagull and a cat, and everyone has such good personalities, and I enjoy all of that, but I don't remember the end of the mystery, which I guess is probably not good. But I would give that one 4 out of 5. So the next one I read was a little different. It was by Frederick Bachman, and it was called My Friends. And I really hadn't heard much about it, except, I heard that most people seem to enjoy it. I looked afterwards on Goodreads, and it had a definite combination of, where are you going, my dear? It had a combination of reviews, some good, some bad. Um, I had a hard time figuring out what I thought of the book in some ways. Um, it was it was quite depressing at times, I found, only because it is about these teenage, I think they were all boys, teenage boys, who there was a picture taken, or a picture painted, I guess, rather, a picture painted of them when they were teenagers, and it this girl sees the picture. It becomes a very famous picture, and she sees it and is really obsessed with it, and obsessed with the fact that she can see these boys in the painting where a lot of people don't even see them. They just see the ocean. And so it combines the two, the lives of these teenagers then and this girl now. And the thing is, none of them have good home lives. Um, just really, a lot of abuse, a lot of problems. And I mean, if you ever think that teenagers don't think about serious issues, this book would certainly put a stop to that, because these kids, their whole lives are very serious. And so that part of it was hard, but the story itself, I mean, it was all about friendship. It was all about people trying to find their place in the world, especially if they're a little different, or if they've suffered some things. So it was really good that way. Really made me think, which is good and bad. you know, I mean, sometimes you don't want to think, right? But I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. And Dudley has my sweater, so I'm trying to reach my notes, and he's putting a stop to that. Thank you, Dudley, for letting go. So he's just a bundle tonight. He's he's all over and everywhere. All right, so the next one that I read was for my for the real life book club that I do. And this one was called Murder at 42nd Street Library. And I have to say, I didn't get what I was expecting. I mean, you know, that's bad on me, I guess, that I was expecting anything. But I thought by the title and the little blurb I read that it was going to be cozy. It was not. Definitely not. So it was about this man named Ambler who worked in the crime section of the library. And apparently there really is a 42nd Street Library in New York somewhere. So he worked there, and his friend Adele, I believe her name was. I think it was Adele. She was, I don't know about what exactly she did. She was some sort of librarian, researcher or something. But anyway, she worked with them. A lot of other characters in the book, loads of other characters in the book. And you start out thinking it's just going to be a regular kind of murder mystery. But there's so many people, so many layers to this thing, and a lot of talk of CSA, child abuse. And so it was, I found that very disturbing. Um, that whole plot, like the whole plot kind of revolved around that even. And it just really didn't do it for me. I did finish it. It had a very cheesy, cheap ending. I'm just going to say it. Um, a nice little happy ending to wrap it all up, except it was very unrealistic. So it was not my favorite. And I would only give it 2 out of 5. So won't be reading another one from that author, I'm afraid. The next one was called The Winter Rose, and it was a historical mystery. And it was good. It was maybe not the best one I've ever read, but it wasn't bad. So this was about Grace, who rescues Jewish children in France during World War II. And at the end of the war, she ends up bringing 2 of them home with her and trying to help them have a life. But I don't know, I guess with what they had seen and the way their lives had went, it wasn't easy for them to adjust to that. And the family, as they got older, just kind of broke apart and she didn't really see them. And she somehow, and this is where it gets a little foggy in my brain, somehow she is connected to this man who I guess was her mentor somehow, and he needs bone marrow, I think, is what he needs. Like I said, it's all kind of blends in my brain, but he needs bone marrow, I believe, and she's trying to find a match for him, and she feels that one of these kids would be his match. And not sure I'm not sure I ever really understood how she figured that. They were somehow related anyway. But this is the problem with the book. It was it was interesting when it was back in World War II and she's trying to rescue the children and all of that. But then when you get to the present day timeline, I found it very muddy. And although I still found it somewhat interesting, I didn't quite understand it. There was too many characters and yeah. So that one I would give 3 out of 5. So as you see, there was some good, some bad this month. So the next one was definitely one of the good, and it was Sisters in Arms. And I really should have been on here yesterday because it was a 5-star read, and I just loved it. It was about Grace and Eliza, and they're Black women who decide to join. Uh, they decided to join the army. I always get confused with did they join the army? I don't remember any planes. I don't remember any boats. So we're gonna say it was the army. Anyway, they were the first. That squad was the first Black women squad in the armed forces, and so one of them, I think it's Grace, is the socialite, and Eliza is a classical musician. both very lovely women, both brought up very differently, and neither one expecting what they end up getting when they get there. It's certainly harder than what they expected, especially Grace, because she's not used to that kind of life. She's used to having help, people to do things for her. She's used to getting what she wants, and that's not the way it works in the army. And then they really have to go above and beyond what all the other squads do because of the prejudice that they suffer. No one is expecting much out of them. Most people don't seem to want them to even be there. They certainly don't want them to be officers, which is what they become, and they face a lot of hardship. So it was just amazing to read, and actually I listened to that one, and the audio book was really good. The narrators were great, and I just really really fell in love with it. So really like that one. So the next one was a Harlequin love inspired suspense, and this one was called Hiding the Witness. And I really enjoyed that one too. And I would also give it 5 stars. Um, it was about Diana, who is a firefighter, and she had suffered a tragedy previously. But as she's coming home one night, she sees a cabin that has gone up in flames, and she stops to try to help. And when she goes near the cabin, she can smell accelerant, and she knows that it has been set. And so she ends up rescuing this little girl out of the cabin. And so um, and then later on, she ends up, her friend is the police chief, and her friend's brother works for like a security organization. And so he ends up guarding her and the little girl, and the sparks start to fly between the two of them. It was really good, and I really enjoyed the characters and their growth, and I also really enjoyed the mystery and the whole story, like what on earth is going on, and why are people shooting at us, and all of that. So really had a great time with that, and I'm telling you, the more Harlequins I read, the more that I realize why they're still around, and have been around for so long, because they've really, I remember them being good as a young adult, a teenager even, but I feel like they step up their game as time goes on. So really enjoying those. And then, don't mean to end on a downer, but the last one that I read was actually a Francine Rivers book that I think it's one of her older ones, and I expected, I guess, quite a bit out of it. I ended up DNFing it, and I'll call it a soft DNF just because maybe sometime I'll go back to it. But I found, at least the bit that I read, it was called A Voice in the Wind, and the bit that I read, it was very heavy on the violence and the clash between the Romans and the Israelites. And although I understand that's historically accurate, it just wasn't fun to read. It was disturbing, and I didn't care for it at all. So anyway, I didn't last very long in that one before I gave up. There wasn't enough of like a plot with the characters, and too much of the action. So again, might come back to it at some point, but so far I didn't care for it. So that is it for what I read, which I'm not sure when we were on here together before, but it's probably been a week and a half, maybe. So anyway, that's pretty good. According to Goodreads, I think I'm a few books ahead of my schedule, or whatever they call it when they have that book challenge thing. I did read a lot last year, but again, it's because I was off, so in that way, I lowered my expectations a lot for this year because I don't think I'll have time to read as many as I did last year. But I think too, I'm going to try to read, um, not, I mean, I always enjoy what I read, but I'm going to try reading more off my shelves. I'm going to try reading more classics, more nonfiction. So we'll see how that goes. but but that's the thought anyway. So that's it for me. It's believe it or not, nearly my bedtime. So I am going to finish the drink that I have, and I'm going to head for bed. So it was lovely seeing everyone. Seeing everyone. Uh, and I will talk to you again soon. All right. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.